Well, it's a great pleasure to be with all of you here in this conference. I feel it's maybe one of the most important moments in my life because we are at the beginning making the first step to organize a big and important movement around the world through OSI to contribute with the politicians, decision makers, and governments to save the earth, who is confronting a climate change that could means a big change for our civilization and for the humanity. Because I am going to talk in English, and it's very important for me to express myself in a proper manner, I would like to read my speech. I'm not accustomed to do that because I like to talk and speak watching the people and trying to interchange with them, with my feelings, my heart, and my emotions. But I have to because English is not my proper language. Then excuse me for that. And also, I'm very interested in to leave some ideas pretty clear to speak about the real importance of the work we are going to begin this day. It's a pleasure to talk in front of the mayor of Bogota. He's a politician that I really admire, and it's maybe one of the important leaders of Latin America who is going to leave a very important message and work, not just in Bogota, but also an example for Latin America altogether. Dear friends, climate change is now a reality we have to deal with. The variability of its impacts will force humanity to reconsider in many ways how to deal with the sea level rise, the ocean warming, the change in biodiversity, which will affect our food supplies and production for crops around the world, and the impact in the coastal area with increased risks for population and cities causing loss of habitat and livelihoods for people. This fact will be maybe the most important challenge our human species have to confront after the disappearance of the Jurassic era. Will provoke enormous losses in money, and despite at the beginning the poor people will be more affected, afterwards the business community shall be enforced to change their methods to work, the timing to do the investment and the place to make it, and the government will confront the needs of monetary resources that they don't have to support the communities who are suffering the impacts that change. My experience told me that in front of big challenges and tragedies, big solutions. When I got the presidency of my country, we had to build democracy in the middle of East-West confrontation that led us to a civil war in my country and the Central American region. Then, if we wanted democracy and economic development, we had to stop the civil war, avoid continue falling in the East-West confrontation, and look for a peace agreement between the presidents of Central American countries. Nobody thought that could be possible at that time. I took the risk, asked for a meeting with the presidents in Esquipulas. It is very important to say that Esquipulas is in a small country in the border of Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala. But it's a place of pilgrimage from all the people in Central America and even from South Mexico, because the people arrive there with faith and to share a common aspirations for peace and communication between the people. But I also took advantage of the agreements we had with the presidents that gave us the peace process and democracy and the impetus to do the right things in favor of the future generations. I declare an environment protected areas that Victor Watt mentioned, of which the most important is the Mayan biosphere, for which the National Geographic Organization gave us a very important recognition. Then I learned that everything it is possible if you have faith and provoke synergies between the people. And maybe this is the most important means. And now we love the oceans because we became from the oceans. From the oceans become most of our feeding resources. Then we have the moral and historical compromise and commitment to save the oceans. That's why we in Esquipulas Foundation support this initiative from Victor and OSI, because it's a right cause, a fundamental commitment, and because my feeling again is that only if we support a total movement that involves the civil society, the governments, the politicians, and the business community, we will succeed in to manage the climate change that is now a global priority. For us, the ones who live in the regions of the Caribbean Basin, Central America, the South Pacific, and African countries, we have an historical mission to be all together and develop a South-South cooperation to find, like OSI said, sustainable solutions, good practices, and innovative strategies in climate change to propose the world, supporting the conviction that at COP19 and 20, decisions in the right direction have to be taken. But the main question is how we are going to convince the decision makers of the developed countries that climate change will be a tragedy for the humanity and that a change of direction is needed. Until today, the scientific community gave us the arguments to prove that climate change is a real fact and that we are traveling a journey to destroy our environment. How we can give the policymakers of the developed countries the right argument to change the direction of this journey and decide strategies in the direction of protect the people, livelihoods, ecosystems, and habitats, not just in the underdeveloped countries, but also in their countries, like we can see with the floods, the hurricanes, the tornadoes in US, and so other countries. That shall be our commitment at OSI. Make the necessary efforts to put all together at the same direction to get a synergetic action looking to be enhanced, the knowledge about the real facts, the communication about the threat of climate change for all the societies in terms of development, expenditures, business failures, and food supply for the affected areas. We have to make that work in all those organizations that try to integrate countries and regions like SICA, the Central America Integration System, UNASUR in South America, American States Organizations and United Nations, South Pacific Nations, and others, because we are convinced that it's only by joining forces and working together towards common goals that we can generate the transformation which our planet needs. And we also believe that OSI has the potential to become that organization who make the miracle to change the international relationships, addressing for a more solidarian world where people would be more important than profits. People would be more important than profits. And like I have said in my message, living in a better harmony with nature. About my concern and commitment, I can tell you that we in all the network of Foundation Esquipulas, Fundación para el Ecodesarrollo, the Latin American Presidential Mission, and Funda Guatemala will promote a permanent dialogue with other NGOs, do political lobby at the governments and congresses, politicians, and business community to enforce a continued dialogue to create the conditions for the political decision the world needs in order to change the direction we are going at this moment. Thank you very much.